Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you guys sincerely had a great weekend. It was nice to get the 2 days off, kind of recharge, restack a little bit, get rejuvenated, and we're back at it again. So, one of the things that I saw today was on my Patreon members on Discord posed a question to me: could Bitcoin go down to 80,000? I'm like, well, let me take a look into it. So I did a little digging into it, and we'll talk about it obviously here tonight. We could possibly go down to 75,000 before everything is said and done, but we'll take a look at it. And we'll just take a look at the Bitcoin miners versus Bitcoin this past week. It wasn't great. Bitcoin coming down after Papa Powell and his comments were a little hawkish, not dovish. But we'll look into that. We'll get into your guys' Q&A as well. At the end of that, we also have some speculation going on X right now that Mara is being halted on Robinhood right now, pending news release, I guess. Some people are speculating what that could be. I stated, well, maybe it's MicroStrategy buying them out. Who knows, right? We'll find out maybe tomorrow if there's anything to this speculation right now. All right, but as always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure down below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here right now. Bitcoin was down on Friday. It was down yesterday, or it was actually on Friday. It actually came up on the green side of things, right? That was Friday, yeah. So it bounced back up in the green, but on Saturday we were down, Sunday we were down, and then into the new day on Monday, we're now down as well. And we are battling with not battling, we're jumping off or bouncing off the support here at possibly the 50 simple day moving average, which is this blue line here. I don't know if it's blue, it's more like maybe purple, light purplish, something like that right there, that line. We've been bouncing off of that. So if that doesn't hold, there is a good chance we might be falling down to it and going back down to maybe the simple moving average of 400 days, which is this blue line right here. If that happens, we're going down to 80,000 maybe. I don't know if we're going to stick around there. I think we might have a wick that goes down to it and come back up. But that's part of the question that I was trying to figure out. Could Bitcoin go down to 80,000? And based on this, yeah, it is possible that Bitcoin can go down. We have seen historically Bitcoin go down 25, 30%. In this cycle alone, we've seen it already happen here at least once or twice. So it's not out of the question that could happen. Bitcoin right now has come down from the top approximately, if we go down to the bottom here, on this one was about 13%. I mean, we went down as low as 15% here on Friday, right? 15.26% roughly on it. So we've come down already quite a substantial amount in just a couple of days. And the reason I say we could possibly go down to 75, because that would be actually like a 30% drop on Bitcoin from the top. So if we look at it from here all the way down to 30%, that is like right around 75,000 at that point. So is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. Will it happen right now? That I don't know. Nobody knows that for sure, whether that's going to happen. But historically, Bitcoin has had these kind of drawdowns, these pullbacks from the tops here. So if we got one here, this was back in August. We went down 30% roughly in a matter of 7 days on it. We've been already 7 days from the top here, and we're down 15% roughly at the bottom, but we haven't bottomed out yet. And even in this current run up to that we've had here to actually, where was it? It was pre-halving that I saw it actually. Where's my halving? There it is. Okay, there's the halving event here. So we saw that happening here. If we look at the top, which was 73,000 as well, to the bottom at that point all the way down here, that was also like 33%. So if we look at it from here to here was 30%. We had 33% drawdown here. And then we've had also drawdowns here as well, where we went down from there to there was 20% drawdown. And we've had other drawdowns as well. But in the prior cycle that we can look at here, we had in the bull run, as we were going up, we had drawdowns of roughly, 30% there as well, over 20 some days roughly, maybe 15 days or so. We had a drawdown of 30%. So it is not uncommon to have that happen. The thought process this time around was that with Bitcoin being with more adoption, more ETFs, more MicroStrategy buying it, miners buying it, states possibly buying it, countries buying it, everything else, that maybe we would have subdued drawdowns instead of the 30%. Maybe we would see like the 15% like we've just recently seen, but nobody knows until we're actually past it. So with that being said, I do think it is possible that we might actually go down to 75. What are the chances of that right now? I mean, I don't know. I think it's 50-50 right now. It's hard to tell if we would go down that low to it. I think, like I've been saying, if the 50 simple day moving average doesn't hold on the daily here, for Bitcoin, then we will possibly go down and test the 100 simple moving day average. That's going to obviously increase a little bit depending on when we get there and when we actually touch it. That'll be interesting to note. We might bounce off of that. But right now, with that coming down, we might go down unless things really reverse and we get a Santa Claus rally here in the next couple of days. We got Monday and Tuesday in trading. Well, Tuesday's already Christmas or Christmas Eve, and then we got Christmas Day on Wednesday. So we'll see if we get a bounce off of here, and then if we can get back above the 100,000 mark here, which has been somewhat of a support here if we can get above it. Right now it's going to be acting as resistance for us going forward. Okay, now the miners had somewhere, it was a mixed day on Friday. The miners for the most part were down in the red. There were a couple that were in the green. We had Bitfarms being down just a little bit here, 0.59%. BitTier was up for some reason, not sure exactly why, almost 13%. There was no news coming from that one. Cypher was down just a little bit here, 0.17. Cleanspark was up just a little bit, 2%. CORZ was down 2.4. Hive was down. Hot was down. IREN was up a little bit, 3.4. Mara was down 2%. Riot was up 3.2. And Wolf was up 1.8. So it was definitely a mixed bag on these guys here. And then, so we'll see how they do going into this shorter week of trading. I believe we're going to have trading tomorrow on Monday. I believe we're going to have a probably shorter day on Tuesday. I would have to look at the schedule for NASDAQ. And then we're going to be off on Christmas Day. And then we'll be back on Thursday and Friday. I believe we're going to have trading days on those as well. If I'm mistaken here, correct me if I'm wrong on that as well. But we'll see how that goes. And then we got a short week the following week as well, because we got, well, New Year's Eve and everything else. So it's going to be not a lot of trading days left here in the end of the year here. And Bitcoin right now is, as of right now, down 2.5% on December. So it's not looking like a good December for us. We were hoping to get at least like 10, 15% out of it. If we were looking at the prior cycles of 2015 and 2016, where we had nice Decembers, but that's not looking that way right now. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But we still have some days left trading. Bitcoin trades 24/7, so we'll see how that one does. All right, so that's it for that. Let's take a look at really quick here the smaller miners and the large miners, how they performed last week compared to Bitcoin. And on this chart, we can see where the miners are from their 52-week lows and how far away they are from their 52-week highs here. We can see Bitcoin is, on the smaller miners, outperforming everybody here. It's up 153%. Digihost is up 110%, so that's the second best here. Followed by BitDigital up 90% from its 52-week lows. Argo is only up 8.1%. DMG up 5.4%. And Argo's the furthest away from its 52-week highs. It's 85, almost 86% away from its 52-week highs as it is on it. Now, when we look at the weekly performance here on the miners, the small ones, Digihost did kind of okay. It was up 2%. Bitcoin was down 4%. DMG was down 13%. Argo 14%. BitDigital down 18%. And then on the 4 weeks, things look a little bit different there. Bitcoin's pretty much flat. And then Digihost is down 17%. DMG down 12%. Argo down 44%. BitDigital came in, I don't know why I have that one. Let's look into that one. Why that one's not providing the data for me. But everybody here is underperforming Bitcoin right now, it looks like, except for maybe Digihost on 12 weeks is done pretty good here. So that's the smaller guys. Let's take a look at the large guys here as well. This is the chart for them, being how far up they are from their 52-week lows. We got Core being up the most, almost 500%, followed by Terrible, 467%, Hut up 342%, BitTier 300%, IREN 268%, Cypher 184%. And you got Bitcoin being up 157%, and then you got Riot 104%, Cleanspark 87%, Hive 74%, Marathon 72%, Bitfarms 27%. And the one that's furthest away from its 52-week highs is right now Cleanspark, 51%, followed by Bitfarms at 50.6% as well on that one. And then when we look at the 1 week chart here, we can see that Riot was actually flat along with BitTier more or less. Bitcoin was down on this one, showing me negative 1%. Why is that one showing me negative 4%? That is interesting. What did I miss on this one? Yeah, Bitcoin negative 4%. Bitcoin 87 high was, I mean, that's the stock price as of Friday. That's okay. What am I showing over here? On this one, Bitcoin, wow, why is Bitcoin down 896? Oh, that's, why did that mess up? It should be this over here. That's strange. Okay. Something went a little screwy there, I feel like, but it's still not off that much. Okay, well, we'll go with it. I'll look into it some more later on. But you can see that pretty much everybody here underperformed Bitcoin for the most part, except for maybe two. On the 4-week chart, things definitely look a little bit different there at that point. Bitcoin's flat. BitDeer has done the best, 81%. A couple that have outperformed a little bit of Bitcoin were Riot, 6%, along with HUT8 being up 5% and IREN being up 22%. Everybody else has underperformed here. The worst performers were CORZ, 15%, along with Cleanspark, down 20%. On the 8 weeks, we got Bitcoin now being up 49% and BitDeer being up 178%. That one's definitely done way better. HUT8 has also done better than Bitcoin, and everybody else has underperformed here to Bitcoin. And then when we look at the 12 weeks chart, we can see again, Bitcoin's up 51%. So we got at least Riot being up 66%, HUT 109%, and BitDeer 148%. And then everybody else has pretty much underperformed a little bit or by quite a lot on that time scale. And you can see the numbers, how they all stack up here on the weekly. For each of these guys here, we've had pretty much a red week across the board this past week on the miners. And then we had more mixed results here in the last couple of weeks on the miners and Bitcoin in general as it is. So we'll see where Bitcoin goes on it. Going forward, we have a couple more days left, like I said, of trading. Nobody really knows what's going to happen with that one. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. If we also look at the enterprise metrics as of Friday here, we can definitely still see quite a few of these guys being way undervalued compared to some of the other miners as well. And that's kind of where we are right now. So we'll leave it at this chart here. As always, Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets. I'll get those out to you guys either later on tonight or tomorrow morning as well. Or by the latest, I'll get them out tomorrow morning, depending on what time we finish up the Q&A here on things. But yeah, the link is down in the description for that. All right, that's it. Let's take a look at the Q&A side of things here. And there wasn't much news happening with the miners this past Friday or anything like that, or in general last week. There wasn't much happening. So there wasn't anything really to discuss or go over or ponder in any way. But yeah, Bitcoin's up a little bit right now. It seems like it's up just slightly, 0.09% on the day. So it's turning around a little bit here. All right. On the question side of things, if you guys could preface with a question mark or a Q, and then followed by the question, I'm going to scroll up a little bit here, see if there's any questions that I missed already. And I'm going to work my way down as it is. So let me see here. First question we got here is this one. So question, are you dissatisfied in the minor sense of the 2022 lows, or is this what you expected? It's somewhat what I expected, but I would have expected the miners to start running last month a little bit more than they have been. This has been a different cycle altogether. The reason for that is, as you guys know, we've had a new all-time high before we had a halving event, which never happened before. So it's been different. We've also have a lot more on-ramps for Bitcoin for investors. We have the ETFs, we have MicroStrategy as well. There's other vehicles as well that you could get on to Bitcoin if you wanted to, not just the miners. The miners still are a proxy for them, and we'll have to wait and see how they do going forward. But I still believe that with the revenue they're going to be generating here as Bitcoin goes up higher, that should yield the stocks to do better going forward. Time will only tell on that. But I'm still heavily invested in them. I've been buying more. I bought more last week. When did I buy? I bought Friday. I think I bought, I bought some more Cleanspark on Friday. So I've been buying the dip as we're seeing it, and I'm going to continue to do that as time goes on. Am I disappointed a little bit? Yeah. If we don't start running up here within the next couple of months, it's going to be a different cycle possibly altogether. But time will only tell, right? Okay. Question, Ben bought 100 shares of Bitfarms on Friday, bullish. Oh, I did not see that. See, that's good news there. Let's take a look at that. Let me see if I can pull that up on the SEC website. Let's see here. That would be something to talk about. I wish I would have saw that. Let's see, BITF, Bitfarms. What do we got here? So let's take a look at their SEC filing. So what we got here, inside of transactions. This was 12/20. Was it Friday that he bought those? Excuse me. What is this? Approximate date of commencement of the proposal of sale of securities. This is for Stronghold. Where are you seeing that Ben bought more shares? Because I'm not seeing it on here. Report for an issuer. This was 12/18, 12/20. Are you seeing maybe the Canadian website, the CDAR, I think it's called? If you're seeing it on there, let me know if that's the case. But that would be great. If he's buying 100,000 shares, so he obviously believes the company's going to do much better going forward. I'll always love seeing that. If CEO's buying, heck yeah, that's a good sign there, I think. All right, let's go back to the Q&A. Question: why does Mara trade on 24-hour market, but Cleanspark does not? Is that based on trading volume and brokerage? Oh, I don't know. Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. They shouldn't be trading 24 hours. I don't think. I think you can start trading them early on, pre-market, certain hours, and then you can trade them after hours as well. But I don't know if it's 24 hours. I could be wrong on that, but I've never traded any of these guys after hours. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit. Did you see Mara trading halted overnight? Do you have a guess as to what they'll announce? My guess was MicroStrategy was going to buy them out, but that definitely got a lot of attention on X. But I don't know if that's the case. I have no inside information. I have no idea if that's the case or at all. That'd be kind of cool though, because at that point, if that's the case, oh my gosh, all the other miners that have a hodl position would get re-rated at that point, depending how much MicroStrategy would pay for them. For MicroStrategy, I think it would be a great thing to do possibly, because they've been buying Bitcoin here as Bitcoin's been going up in value, much higher prices. And then if they could get the biggest miner right now in hash rate and hodl, depending on what the deal would be, and then being able to possibly mine it at a much lower cost as well, I think that might be actually a good thing for MicroStrategy there. But I don't know if that's that. It might be just something else that's going on there. More likely it's going to be something else. I give it a very low chance that it's MicroStrategy buying them out. All right. When do you think miner season will start? It should have started like a month ago, to be honest with you guys. Like halfway through November, that's kind of when it should have started. But it hasn't started yet. So maybe we're a little bit delayed by a month or two on it. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but it should start right around now. Okay. Especially how low can Cleanspark get from here? Well, I mean, here's the thing. If Bitcoin goes down to 75,000, we're going down lower with all these guys. At that point, there's no stopping that. And if that's the case, I mean, Bitcoin goes down another 10% or something like that, 15% from where it's at right now. You're looking at the miners going down 20, 30%, if not better, possibly. So have a little dry powder on the side just in case they do go down that low. And that'd be a really good buying opportunity at that point, I think, especially if Bitcoin bounces back up. If now 108,000, whatever we reached here at the top was, if that was the top, well, then we're SOL, I guess you could say. I don't think that's the case, but just in case, put it out there for pros and cons as well. All right. Benefits of Amazon acquiring Mara. Why would they acquire Mara? They're making so much money on their own operations from, what's it called there? Oh, gosh. Their data hosting things, WPS, right? Is it WPS? You guys know what I mean. The Amazon Web Services, AWS. There we go. And that's what it was. AWS. They're making just so much money on that. Why would they buy a Bitcoin miner? For them, it doesn't make any sense. They could possibly buy Bitcoin, yeah, but not buying Mara. I mean, the only thing that they could get from Mara is maybe some of the sites that they have there that they could use for data centers for the megawatts. Okay, maybe that's one of the reasons there. Okay. Question. Hello, Seb. What are the technical indicators from previous cycles showing the peak of the miners and therefore the perfect time to sell? They usually will front run Bitcoin by about a week or so. So if you see the miners going basically parabolic within several weeks, that might be that we're getting close to the top. Then you would need to see the miners go, 3, 5, maybe 7x or something like that. And if that happens, that might be an indicator that we're getting close to the top. Okay. Good evening, Seb. Good evening to you. Have you ever considered entering into MicroStrategy to maybe hedge within the crypto space? I have not. Historically, from what I've seen from MicroStrategy, except for this cycle, it has performed like a 2 to 3x on Bitcoin. The miners have outperformed it last cycle, so that's kind of where my head was at this point. Do I think it's a good play? Yeah, I still think Bitcoin goes up, MicroStrategy is going to go up, right? I thought it got a little overheated here when it got to $500. It did come down, which kind of was expecting that to happen. So maybe next time, if we have a repeat cycle where Bitcoin goes down 50, 70% or something like that, and MicroStrategy is still doing its thing where it's buying up more Bitcoin, at that point I will probably diversify a little bit more instead of being all in on miners and just Bitcoin. We'll get into also like MicroStrategy as well. Let's see. Kaz says Bitfarms insider trades. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Was that you? Yeah, that was you also. So we talked about that. Okay. Hi, Sebastian. Was there any rumor about MicroStrategy buying Mara? It was a rumor that I basically put out there. I don't think it's going to happen, right? DR Lewis put it out there. What could be going on? I just put MicroStrategy buying Mara, right? Wouldn't that be, how to phrase it? Wouldn't that be something like that? I think I should have used probably question mark instead of exclamation point. But that was just it. Why else? There's multiple reasons why they could be halted, but wishful thinking and things like that. I just put down maybe Mara would be getting bought out by MicroStrategy. Okay. Will Mara being bought out by someone like MicroStrategy hurt other miners? Well, that's the thing. We don't know if it's MicroStrategy, right? I just put it out there. I have no news on that whatsoever. But it would definitely be interesting here, and I think it would re-rate some of the other miners because, well, depending on also the valuation that they get bought out at, I think that would also re-rate some of the other miners as well. Let's see. Brad says, Cleanspark has one last gap around 720. What are your guesses on the chances of that filling? If Bitcoin goes down to 80,000, 75,000, then that gap's getting filled. There's no getting around that one. Okay, I talked about that one. Let's see. All right. Question. I have a BTC and a business account taxed at 50% in my country. Even if I nail the top, say 180,000, I'd only receive half. Would you recommend holding it permanently? Miners will be sold off 100%. Yeah, miners, I would hold off. I would sell off miners, right? If we have a similar cycle like last time, where Bitcoin goes down, miners go down as well, I would do that. Bitcoin, I'm still holding it. I've been holding it since 2017. I've been through these cycles. Especially if you're paying 50% on it, I would hold on to it for longer if you can. If you don't need it, I would wait until it gets to like $1 million. Maybe at that point, sell it. Okay. Let's see. Anyone else think BTC is due for a 10% gain daily date? That would be fantastic. I think we're going to need. I think we might see a couple more raid days, to be honest with you guys, before things kind of level out. Okay. Do you see a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve in the first 100 days of Trump? Yeah, I do think so. There's just a lot of stuff going on with it from Dennis Porter, Cynthia Loomis as well. I think that would be doable there. And do you see the Satoshi Action Fund and Sailors crypto proposals boosting the U.S. miners by much if there is such a reserve? I think definitely helps with Bitcoin price going up in value, right? That's going to help then the miners themselves be more profitable. So that is the catalyst to drive the miners even higher, I guess. All right. Is BTDR, that's BitDeer, are they overvalued right now? I would think that they are, but investors might be looking out further than what I'm looking out further past. So I'm looking at like the next 6 months to maybe 9 months. A lot of their growth is going to be happening after the 6 months here, after the second half, more so in the second half of 2025 into 2026, right? But maybe investors are looking more into the next year and year beyond that, based on their growth trajectory, their own ASICs that they're going to be delivering and producing and installing and all that stuff. Maybe they're looking more into that. But if you just look at simply where Bitcoin possibly usually tops out at, which is within the next 6 to 9 months roughly, at that point, a lot of their growth is going to be, like I said, towards that end part of that cycle. So I would say yes by me, but investors might be looking at it further out. All right. See, Carlos says, when Riot started planning on buying Bitcoin, it hurt its price, and then it rallied when they announced it would host AIs. What's your price target for February, March based on recent events? Well, it's going to depend where Bitcoin is at. Bitcoin is the catalyst for these guys, and Riot was never against HPCI. It was always dependent on the type of deal that they get, right? If it was a deal similar to what Core Scientific got with CoreWeave, then they were all for it. I think everybody would be for it. It's just not them. And then recently with the activist investor there, I can't remember the name of the fund or the company that's investing in them, trying to get them to go into HPCI more so. That did help the stock a little bit, yeah. Okay. Question: would you get into BitIO or IBIT? Those are both the ETFs. I think those are the ETFs, right? No, BitIO. Remind me what those are. There's just so many these doggone names. I'm in right now in WGMI and BitQ. BitIO. What is BitIO? Let me pull that up. BitIO. Oh, ProShares. Yeah, that's the ETF as well. I like actually BitQ and WGMI. Those have done really well for me. Those are on the miner side of things. I don't know. That's a Bitcoin ETF, so that might be a way to go as well. And then see what was the other one as well. IBIT is iShares Bitcoin Trust. You could do that, or you could buy Bitcoin directly if you're able to. I would do that instead of going in with one of these Bitcoin ETF trusts. But that's just me. I own Bitcoin directly outright. Okay, we're still back there. Okay, what happens if China lifts the BTC mining ban? Will the public miners be hurt? No, not really. There's two options I think that would happen there at that point. So if China does lift the ban on it, you would have either like the wealthy folks there in China that would possibly get back into Bitcoin mining, and that might be it, right? Some of these companies that are publicly traded, they're probably not going to do it. Others might also be weary to do it because there's just not the stability there, right? So, okay, they approve it for Bitcoin mining, and then what happens in a couple of years when they say, oh, we don't like this again, and they ban it again. So that's a hard pill to swallow at that point, I think, and not many people are going to take that risk unless they actually see it that it's approved for a number of years, like 5, 10 years, whatever it might be. I would say maybe 5 years, right? If it's approved for 5 years, you're more likely to be a little bit more comfortable investing in that over there. But that's just my take. I could be wrong on it. Question: do you know if Riot was diluted recently? I don't believe so. I'm not even sure how much they have left of the ATM left that they had there. Okay. All right. Question: if no one holds on to the Bitcoin miners except to nail the peak, does that make BTC miners a pump and dump scheme? Well, it's not really a pump and dump scheme. It's just they're generating a heck of a lot of revenue at that point. They're making revenue. But it's not a pump and dump scheme. It's just what we've learned in the historical. If Bitcoin does go down. So here's the question again. What if Bitcoin doesn't go down the 70% that we're expecting it to go down? What if it has an extended rally where it goes maybe slower to the upside, but it takes 1, 2, 3 years to get there to where it's going to, right? So that's something that we have to also keep in mind here. Okay. What is the best way to buy Bitcoin, Robinhood, MicroStrategy, and what is a crypto wallet? Best way to buy it would be like on an exchange like Coinbase, Gemini, Binance. I don't know if you can take your coins off of Robinhood and then put them into a wallet. So that would be my best recommendation there. If you're going to buy Bitcoin directly, you could get into a proxy like MicroStrategy. Yes, that's fine, but you don't have any Bitcoin at that point. You're just going with what they have on their balance sheet. And what is a crypto wallet? A crypto wallet is something that stores basically your Bitcoin on it. That's offline. You keep it offline. And there's plenty of videos you can watch on that on YouTube, whether it's Ledger or some of the other ones that are out there. There's Tether as well. There's a bunch of other ones that have just popped up here recently as well that are supposed to be even better than those. So definitely do your due diligence on that, and don't let anybody know what your keys are or your seed phrases and all that stuff is. All right. Seb, would you invest in MSTU, which is a 2x MicroStrategy? I mean, you're putting leverage on top of leverage already as it is with that kind of play. I would not, because MicroStrategy is already leveraged on Bitcoin, and then you add another leverage point of it. It becomes even more scary to me. I try to eliminate as much leverage as I can. Being the miners, you're already leveraged up to wazoo. But I don't get into like options with the miners or anything like that. I just buy the shares. I'm a lot more comfortable doing that. So that's completely up to you there. Okay. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on Semler? Semler is another one that's been buying up Bitcoin here recently. I think it's Semler Medical or something like that. Do I have any thoughts on it? I mean, it's definitely helping the stock out. I'll say that. And they're kind of following the same playbook as Sailors with MicroStrategy. So if it works for them, great. This would definitely work for some of the investors that have been into it. So it is a good play there that way. It's just dependent on where Bitcoin goes, just like everything else here in this space. Okay. Let's see. What do you think about block mining chips with CORZ? So we had that news story come out. It's been probably like 3 to 6 months ago now that CORZ came out that they're working with Block to get like 15 exahash of Block's new ASICs for their setup. And that's all we've heard. I haven't seen anything else recently on it from CORZ or from Block either. So I don't know what's going on there with that. Okay, Danielle says, guys, we are so many here, and Seb's stream just hit 19 miserable likes. Let's all like and subscribe. He is doing a lot of valuable work. I appreciate that. Thank you. Par, Merry Christmas to you too as well. Question: when you think Riot will do HPCI deal? That's not an easy question to answer, and it's going to be dependent on the site that they have there, Corsicana and Rockdale. Corsicana is a huge 1 gigawatt site. So they've only used up, I think, 400 megawatts right now of it. Right now, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they still have quite a bit left in there. And then the big question is, how close are they to redundant fiber optic cables for internet? How close are they to having that? And then you would have to change out the way that you're building out the infrastructure there to support a tier 3 data center. So it's not that they're close to it. It would definitely take some time for them to build that out or retrofit the current facilities that they have there. But why would you retrofit the current facilities when those are designed specifically for Bitcoin mining with immersion cooling? So it doesn't really make much sense. If you had, just regular racks of servers of these ASICs, then yeah, you could possibly retrofit those like Core Scientific is doing. But you would need to build out a whole new data center, I think, in order for that to make sense. Let's see what else do we have here. Okay, Carlos says, IBIT is the inverse Bitcoin. So basically you're shorting it then? Is that the way to think about it? All right. Okay, what happens to BTC miners when all BTC is mined? Well, we're not going to be alive to see that. So I'm not even going to worry about what happens then. But you're looking at 2140 roughly when all the Bitcoin is mined at that point. When that does happen, the transaction fees, hopefully, should be enough to support the miners going forward after that. But that's a long ways to figure that out, and we still have a lot of years, 120 years before that happens, or 115 years, whatever it might be. Okay. Hi, Sub, Mara has got high potential as compared to Cleanspark. Can I say that Mara has got high potential as compared to Cleanspark, right? Yeah, Mara has a lot of potential, right? I've always kind of picked on them for not having the greatest operations historically, but their operations have been improving, which is good. They have the biggest hodl right now as it is. They keep buying more as well. They do a lot of interesting things, actually. The latest one was buying the wind farm. So then they can retire some of their older machines there and pretty much mine at zero cost potentially. So they're doing a lot of good things. Are they higher potential? Maybe. Time will tell. Right? I want to see them operate at like the efficiency that they were in on November. Can they do that also in December, in January, possibly in February as well? Last year we saw the same thing where their operations improved tremendously, where they mined 1,100 Bitcoin in December, and then the following month they were like under, what was it? I want to say it was like 900 something like that BTC, half of that. That was even before the halving event took place. Okay, what else? Question: did it surprise you that Cleanspark used their entire 800 million ATM in 2024? I believe you had thought it would take 2 to 3 years. No, not that one. It's the additional 300 million that they're getting, right, on their basically business, right? So that's kind of where I'm thinking it might take more than that. The 800 million, I wasn't surprised about that, taking this, using up, how long did it take them? 7-8 months or something like that to use it all up. No, so I wasn't surprised by that. I think the additional 300 million shares that are going to be available to them, I think that's going to take longer for that to get used up. And we saw them obviously get the convertible notes here, right, last week. And they've stated basically that they are not looking to do an ATM or any dilution this current year or into the next year possibly. So that's a good sign there. And then, yeah, could they pull more on those 300 million shares that's available to them? Yeah, with an ATM going forward, sure. But like I said, that's going to take a number of years, 2, 3, maybe even 5 years for them to use that up. Okay, what else? Okay. Hi, so do you see 4-year halving cycles for miners as compared to history? Like this time around, will we have another cycle? I would love to have another cycle. Rinse and repeat, do this again, buy the miners at a much lower price point when Bitcoin bottoms out. Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to do that again. Will we get that? I don't know. And the reason I don't know that is because just of all the adoption that we're having here. I keep talking about that. Nation states, countries buying it, states buying it, MicroStrategy buying it, ETFs buying it, miners buying it now as well. It's just a lot of adoption that we're seeing here. So could that result in Bitcoin having an extended cycle? Possibly. I don't know until we actually get through this. And I don't know if there's any way to tell if we're going to be in that kind of cycle other than actually being through it. Okay. Let's see here. We haven't had much news on Cleanspark. So what did they spend their ATM on? Well, they spent it on sites. They bought a bunch of sites here this past year, as you might be aware of. They grew from, what did they grow from? Miners, right? Purchased miners, sites. Yeah, they bought themselves a plane as well. What else? Just a lot of growth. They've been also hodling Bitcoin here. They hodled, I think, was it DR Lewis that pointed out in the last, was it from the bottom of 2023? From their hodl to where it is now, I think they had the most growth in hodl as far as percentage-wise. Not the amount, but the percentage-wise, they grew that the most. So they've done a lot of things here in the past year. Okay. Question, where does the 75 BTC drop come from? If we look at the top where we got to 108,000 here recently and you pull down 30% of that, we're going down to like about 75,000 on it. And we've seen 30% drawdowns with Bitcoin historically. We've seen it here just this past year alone as we go up. So it's not uncommon for Bitcoin to drop that low. I'm saying, will we get there? Might. Is there a slight chance? There is a slight chance. How big of a chance that is, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. In the past, we have seen a red month like this, December 2024. What happened after the red months? I mean, depends on the cycle. It's not just based on the month itself being red, but what else is going on with the economy, potentially, interest rates, things like that. You can see here that we've had red months where we've had red months following it. We've had plenty of red months where we had then a green month. And then we've had some months where it was red after red after red after red. But I was thinking that this cycle might be similar to 2015, 2016, where we had September being in the green, like here, and then we had a nice rally here in the basically 4 months going into it, with December's being in the green as well. But then we had also the following year, slight red January. But then things got really good for us going after that. So there's no rhyme or reason as to why we are red. It's just what's happening in the overall ecosystem, the markets, and everything else. Okay, let's go back here. Okay. Analyzing the actual situation, when do you believe Riot will reach $30 minimum? Do you believe it will happen? I do believe it will happen. When will it happen? Oh, gosh, I'm guessing within the next 6 to 9 months. I don't know exactly when, but somewhere right around there. Okay. Let's see. Question, are you expecting Q1 2025 will be parabolic phase for the miners? Possibly. Right, a lot of the miners are going to be reporting their Q4 results and fiscal year-end results as well. Those should be good for them, especially the Q4 numbers. Could that be the catalyst that drives them forward? Possibly, yeah. Okay. Peak price in 2025, I would say, I'm still thinking probably like close to 200,000 and above, somewhere around there. Ali says, if you raise your microphone volume 50% up, maybe Cleanspark might go up 50% this week. I could raise my volume up and then people complain that they can hear me breathing and everything else. So I'm trying to shoot past the microphone as best as I can, not speak into it. Okay. So do you believe the Bitcoin hash price index has bottomed in the short term? Do you have any technical analysis on this? You're talking about the hash price there. Well, that's based on a couple factors. Bitcoin price, the network difficulty as well. So if Bitcoin continues to go up, I don't know if it's bottomed out. I think it bottomed out earlier this year. Let me see if I can pull up that chart here. I do have it here someplace. Bitcoin hash price index. Let me see. I see that's been coming down here a little bit here in the last month as well. We're down to, what is it, 56 here? Let's see, go back down here. So here's in the 1 month, 3 months. You can see that we've definitely been lower than that. We were at 45. We have come down to 56 right now as it is. We peaked at roughly 65. So we are down quite a bit. That's not good for the miners. So does that mean the network hash rate is increasing here? Yeah, network hash rate is increasing. So that's a result of that. Even though Bitcoin is kind of flat here, right around 100,000 or so, 99,000, something like that. Let's refresh this so we can get the latest data. This is on the 7-day, has been coming down, 770 exahash right now. If we look at the 30-day average as well, we can see that that has been coming down and it's been coming back up here. So we're at 757, 759 roughly. So we're pretty close to my target for 800 to 900 exahash by the end of this year. We're only off by maybe 40, depending where the month ends at. We might be off by 15, 20 exahash or something like that. So that wouldn't be too far off from where I was expecting things to be on it. And that's a result, right? Network hash rate continues to go up. Bitcoin's flat in the area. Prices are coming down on the hash price. That's how it works. Okay, back here. All right. Question. Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas, especially the bears that's winning right now. If BTC goes to 75, then rest in peace, miners. Well, they're not going to be over with, but yeah, they're going to be beaten down quite a bit. All right. Where do you see more BTC holding amount this time next year? Oh, gosh. I don't know. I mean, they bought a bunch here now. Can they continue to do that like MicroStrategy is doing? Maybe. I mean, they might be able to even double it from where they are right now. Who knows? Love to be a fly on the wall in those meetings, though, at Marathon's headquarters. Let's see. Question. The fact that we are still seeing paper hands, Wall Street, and corrections with a simple JP statement makes it quite clear the bear markets for BTC are not going anywhere. No extended cycle. Oh, that would be great. I'd love to repeat it again. All right. Question. Do we know if Cleanspark has gotten all their mining rigs delivered now to get to 50 exahash? I think I heard there was a delay for some miners to get their rigs. That I don't know. I know that they said that they're fully funded to 50 exahash. That I don't know. I don't recall. Okay. Shouldn't past experiences shown Mara and Riot that there would be a dip rather than buying when Bitcoin was at peak highs? Aren't dips part of all the past bull runs? Yes. We get dips all the time. Historically, at least we have, yeah. Okay. Have you given up on Bitfarms? I have not. No, not. I still own a bunch of shares in them. I only sold a third of my position there in them. I still own a lot of shares there. Do you have a price prediction? I still think that they can possibly get to like $10 and above if Bitcoin goes to 200,000 plus, right? But then they still they need to continue to, well, they need to improve on their execution to get to 21 exahash on that one and grow beyond that, right? Next quarter, they're buying out Stronghold. So we'll see how that benefits the stock. Maybe at that point, things will kind of improve from there. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. Oh, you guys are saying that the mic should be standing up, not pointing towards me. I don't even think I can do that with this thing. Yeah, I'm kind of locked in. I would need to get a different stand for it. Okay, let's see here. Well done for your great work, Seb. Oh, you're very welcome and thank you. Why are people dreaming of MicroStrategy buying out Mara? One, would re-rate some of the other miners as well that have a hodl position, and it would be, I think, really good for MicroStrategy actually, because they can then mine it at much lower cost than continuing to buy it at higher and higher prices. I'm sure they're going to continue to buy it anyways, regardless. But then you have a little bit. What would that be? That'd be almost like a hedge on yourself, right? To be able to get it in at a lower price. Okay, let's see. All right. What is your current average price for Bitfarms? It's like $1.40 something. It's $1.40. I'm $1.45, $1.46. I can't remember exactly. It's pretty low. All right. Do you believe Riot could reach 25 on the first days of January based in the volatility of BTC right now? No. First days of January, no. Yeah, not unless Bitcoin starts really rallying and going much higher, much faster. All right. Question: IREN still appears the most undervalued based on their fundamentals. 31 exahash this month, 15 joules per terahash efficiency, power land, and AI potential. Thoughts? Yes, I do think that they are one of the most undervalued. If we look at just their, let me see if I can pull this up. Enterprise metrics. I like looking at this. So here you can see future hash rate growth, right? IREN's at 31 right now. I don't believe they have pulled anything to get to the 40 exahash yet. So they're coming in at, what is that? Sixth spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth spot as far as being undervalued at 80 million per exahash right now. Riot's at 60 million, Cleanspark at 55, Bitfarms at 32. So there are other ones that are possibly more undervalued, and that's with taking out HODL for these guys, right? Like Cleanspark and Riot have a huge HODL position. That's taking that out of it, along with cash and debt, things like that. That's kind of what we're looking at the enterprise value here. So EV equals market cap plus debt minus cash minus HODL. So we're taking all that stuff out, and so we're giving them a kind of a fair valuation just on their exahash potential going forward. So that's kind of the way I see things going forward. So, but I do agree that they are still way undervalued from where they should be, just like the other guys are currently. All right, back here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, and Private says, I can't find a place I trust to invest in top 50 alts and keep it in a Roth IRA. Yeah, that's, I have no experience on that, so I wouldn't be able to help you out on that one anyways. But yeah, I think we've cut up to all your guys' questions here, so I think we're going to call it a day. We're going on almost 45 minutes or so, 47. Yeah, we'll call it a day. I don't see anything else popping in here, so let's call it a day there, and then we'll see what happens later on this week as well. But Bitcoin and the miners, Bitcoin right now, where's Bitcoin at right now? Bitcoin is up a little bit here. It's up, where's it at? 0.48, half a percentage points up right now. We'll see what it does. It bounced off the 50 simple day moving average on it. So it's the second time it's bounced off of it. We saw it bounce off of it on Friday. We're bouncing off of it right now as well. We'll see if this holds. If this holds, we should be okay. But if it doesn't hold and we fall below it, then like I said before, we might be coming down lower. And I don't know exactly where. Our next support might be like 90,000, somewhere around there. And if that doesn't hold, then we're going down to like, probably 80,000 or something like that. Maybe, 75,000 seems a little bit low, but that would be a 30% drop from where we were at the top. We'll see. On anything's possible with Bitcoin here. We could continue to go up higher, or we could fall. All right. So just be patient. Have some cash on the side if you can. Be prepared to buy some more. And yeah, we'll see where things end up at. All right. So greatly appreciate you guys coming in here. Love you all. Have a great night. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. We'll do a stream tomorrow for sure. Not so sure we'll do a stream on Christmas Eve. Right. Everybody's going to be celebrating. Well, those that celebrate Christmas will be celebrating. But yeah, we'll see where we end up at that point. So I'll definitely see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see what happens on Tuesday. All right.